What's the scariest fact you wish you didn't know? Unfiltered Confessions, voiced by William Bennett. One reason that crows and ravens are associated with death is because they would often follow armies as they marched to battle. Being both carrion birds and extremely intelligent, they realized that a large group of armed men marching in one direction meant that there would be a tasty meal of corpses to eat soon afterwards. When you happen to be murdered, there's only about 40% chance that your murderer will be found and punished. Edit. A lot of people are asking which country I'm referring to. This is a worldwide approximation. There are obviously countries with higher percentages of solved murder cases, but also some with even lower. For example, in the US, there is 40% chance to get away with murder. In Mexico, 90% to get away with it. Organized crime, the overall amount of crimes in that area, and war plays a huge role in this. The US military was expecting such high casualties for the invasion of mainland Japan in World War II that all of the Purple Hearts, medals awarded for injuries in combat, used since have been leftovers made in anticipation for the invasion. I spent many years caring for survivors of sexual abuse and assault, usually in childhood. I'm talking to at least 100, if not hundreds of people. I can count on one hand the amount of their abusers who ever got any charges. There are millions of child predators everywhere, walking around living happy, normal lives. Men and women, rich and poor, every ethnicity. Teachers, doctors, nurses, lawyers, police, clergy, kindly old neighbors, PTA parents, etc. There are so many all over the place, and I hate that I know all these people are up and about, probably even actively abusing more kids, and I can't do anything about it. You can become conscious during CPR resuscitation efforts, to the point of moving and sometimes even violently reacting, but still not survive cardiac arrest. It's called CPR-induced consciousness. It's rare, but there are cases where patients have been aware enough to push caregivers away or tell them to stop CPR. I think my mom did that. I had to keep going while yelling sorry, and the operator was telling me to carry on. Thankfully, she survived, but that was the longest 15 minutes of my life. El McCurdy was a failed Old West outlaw. His preserved body was put on display in a traveling carnival, and years after he was eventually assumed to be a mannequin, until he was used on set for the TV show The $6 Million Man. His arm accidentally fell off during the shoot, revealing bone and muscle, and that he was a corpse, not a mannequin. Humans have invented surgery long before they invented anesthesia. Until the 1980s, surgery was carried out on babies without anesthetic because it was believed they didn't feel pain. How capable all humans are of true evil. After a couple tours in Afghanistan, I saw some of the nicest, funniest, or sweetest people do absolutely terrible things in the name of war or self-preservation. When put in the right situation, all humans are capable of truly despicable actions, whether they want to admit it or not. Humans scared the shit out of me. One thing I've tried to get across to people about war is that for every opportunity to act like a hero, there are 99 opportunities to act like a real piece of shit. That it doesn't play out that way is the testimony to somewhat decent upbringing and the self-concept of the average soldier, or something. Cockroaches have been recorded eating human flesh, both living and dead, as well as fingernails, eyelashes, feet, and hands. The American cockroach and German cockroach are more likely to bite humans than other species. Pretty sure Australian cockroaches do something equally creepy, but as an Australian who plans to sleep at some point in the future, I'm not going to Google it. There are many studies that show they don't like human contact and will clean themselves rigorously if they touch us. Our skin is very oily and can suffocate the breathing holes in their carapace. So we are the scary fact to cockroaches. Nice. Our bodies constantly correcting DNA errors that have the potential to become cancer, and that potential greatly increases depending on lifestyle. So much so that 1/2 of all people will go to develop some sort of cancer. We are getting cancer all the time, it's just that our immune systems keep curing it, until they don't. There is a waterborne microscopic brain-eating amoeba that can enter your body through your nose. It is found in freshwater and can be present at water parks and pools. It is fatal within about 5 days, and there is no way to really test for it before it's typically too late. Survival is very unlikely. There is something called ROT phenomenon. I won't get into EKGs or anything, but basically if your heart beats at the wrong time in your normal cycle, you can go into cardiac arrest. It was seen with that NFL football player who had a sudden collapse on the field a year or two back. That sudden beat that occurs can also result from a sudden hit to the chest, as a baseball hitting you square in the chest at the wrong time in your heart cycle. 2 Scottish doctors originally invented the chainsaw for childbirth. This conjures up a vision of doctors taking a modern chainsaw to a pregnant woman. That's not what was happening. During obstructed childbirth before the modern C-section was practical, doctors developed a process of cutting the woman's pelvic bone to allow for childbirth. Originally this was done with a knife, but that took a large amount of time and was imprecise. The chainsaw was an improvement of this technique. We are currently in the 6th major extinction event in the history of the planet, called the Holocene extinction. Flora and fauna are rapidly becoming extinct due to human activity. As far as I understand it, coming generations are going to suffer from resource shortages. There is nothing we can do to stop it. We can only slow it down. But most people I've met and talked about it do not take it seriously, or they just roll their eyes and go, "Yeah, whatever, crazy scientist." Your children may suffer from this. Your grandchildren will suffer. I don't even want to think about how later generations will suffer. In the Czech Republic, there is a church called the Sedlec Ossuary that has decorations made entirely of human bones. This happened because there were too many people in the cemetery to bury everyone, and the church leaders claimed that if their bones became part of the church, it only made them closer to God. The origins of vampires as we know them. Basically, your body has gas built up when you die. I'm not medically inclined enough to explain why. Basically, the gas has to escape somehow, and so it would pass through the vocal cords in the throat. This creates the low moan that makes the body sound as if it was in pain. People back then had no idea what was happening, and random bodies would just start moaning in pain. And thus they believed that their bodies were rising from the dead, and when stabbed the gas escaped otherwise, thus leading to the belief that the only way to stop a vampire was to stab a dead body in the chest. This also led to a lot of strange burials. That is, the man that was buried in a stone wall to prevent him from rising from the dead. I can't really blame them. I'd be freaked out too if a corpse suddenly started to make sounds. Creepy for some, but I find stuff like that fascinating. There are other factors to add to the overall myth of vampires. One is that premature burials were a thing back then. Someone would be in something like a coma or vegetative state, but they didn't really have the instruments to tell if a person was still alive or not, as someone in certain medical states can have a faint pulse and shallow breathing, which looks like that or as good as that to the untrained eye. Though sometimes people would come back to life, which to superstitious people who legit thought that person was dead would freak them out. This phenomenon was common enough that some people were buried with bells they could ring from their coffin in the event they were buried prematurely, and people would put cages around graves to prevent the dead from rising. According to Abe Lincoln's bodyguard Crook, he said Lincoln had a dream about his own assassination 3 nights in a row before he was killed. Crook told Lincoln not to go on that fateful night, and all Lincoln said was "Goodbye, Crook" before he went to the play. This was very odd, as Lincoln always said "good night," not "goodbye." If you stifle a sneeze, there is a chance you can damage organs in your head, including eye blood vessels, rupturing your eardrums, and possibly rupture a brain aneurysm, which means there is a small chance stifling a sneeze can kill you. Better to be the loud ass with the sneeze that can be heard around the world than a dead loud ass because someone told you to stifle that sneeze. In 2005, a young woman began to have headaches. They discovered she had a brain tumor, and when the doctors removed it, they were shocked to see it was a lump resembling skin that contained bone, teeth, and hair. But this was no parasitic twin. The mass was called a teratoma, or monstrous tumor. When the woman was an embryo, some cell tissue fell off and ended up where it wasn't supposed to be, her brain. It then developed hair and teeth while the rest of her grew as normal. Your eyes have separate immune systems from the rest of your body. If they get damaged in such a way that it affects anything other than your eyes, your regular immune system can attack the damage and will not recognize them, meaning your own body can permanently blind you. What's worse, your body cannot tell the difference between either eyes. If one of them gets infected or damaged, your immune system can attack your healthy eye and take away your sight entirely. Mom, come pick me up, I'm scared. Make sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on more super interesting discussions. In the meantime, you can check out our other videos.